Hi, I want to thank you for joining me on my program today. It's always a pleasure to get the opportunity to bring the Word of God. And I thank every one of you that are tuning in and watching and sharing and liking and making comments. That is a great help for me personally, is to hear from you individually. So make those comments and keep sharing, and we appreciate it so much. Today I want to bring a message entitled, In Him is Life. In Him is life. And so I want to begin in John, and I'm going to use the New King James today, but John chapter 1, let's begin in John 1:1. Let's just begin right there. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through Him, and without Him nothing was made that was made. In Him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. As I was reading that today, I began to see it in a way I really hadn't thought of it before. In the beginning, we know, was God. And in the beginning was the Word, which was Jesus. And we know that God created all the earth, all the world. And He created you, and He created me. But now, let's look at it. All things were made through Him, and without Him nothing was made. So, that means He made every individual on this earth. Not you, not me. He made every individual on this earth. He sent His Son in John 3:16. For God so loved the world, His creation that He made, that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever, any one of all of us, who believeth in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life. So, verse 4, in Him was life. Should have everlasting life. In Him was life. There is no life outside of our Creator. He made us, and He gave His Son for us to come through Him to have that life, the breath of life. You see, we're a clay with a dead spirit until we call upon the Lord and ask Him to come into our hearts, and we begin to serve Him in a relationship with Him. Verse 5 is what really caught my attention. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not comprehend it. I thought of that, and I first saw the darkness as the world without Christ. And then the Lord showed me this vision quickly of a mother. I have two beautiful girls. I'm very proud of both of them. Well, if they stood right in my presence but didn't know I was their mother, well, then what would happen? My thinking is they wouldn't love me as a daughter to a mother. They wouldn't respect me as a daughter to a mother. They wouldn't come to me as a daughter to a mother for counsel. And they wouldn't look to what I have done in respect. It would be different. Oh, that was a nice lady. Oh, yes, she's done a lot. Yes. But they wouldn't know me. It said the darkness didn't comprehend the light. It would be like a child not recognizing their own parent. My children came from my womb. Although God created them, He used this vessel to help with that creation. But if they didn't know that, then I would just be another someone that maybe they met. Do you get the picture? The world as a whole stands in front of God, but doesn't give Him respect because they don't know Him. They don't recognize their own Creator. He created them. There is no life without Him. And Jesus was there from the beginning. And then He came and He gave His life for our life. So, looking at the world at large today, I began to think about that. And I then went over to Mark chapter 12, beginning in verse 28. Then one of the scribes came, and having heard them reasoning together, perceiving that He, Jesus, had answered them well, asked Him, which is the first commandment of all? And Jesus answered him, the first of all the commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. This is the first commandment. But He didn't stop there. He kept right on talking like He didn't skip a beat. And the second like it is this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. So, the world at large, the darkness as a whole, doesn't comprehend the light that has entered the world. They don't comprehend the Creator. But if they do, if my daughters know that I am mother, and I give them counsel, out of love, out of respect, they've always tried to follow through. When my Father gives me counsel, and in this case even a commandment, I try to follow through. We as His children, we must do all within our power to submit our life unto His command. The first one, which should be so easy, knowing who He is. The first one is to love God with all that's within us. But then comes that second commandment. And when it is broken, it makes me question, is the first one in place? And I know I've taught on this before, but it seems like a day and an hour that if we still need it. If you can't look to your neighbor, and love them as yourself, the way God would have you to love them, check the first commandment. Are you really in a relationship with Jesus? Or has it been broken by bitterness, unforgiveness, hatred, rumors? Oh, rumors. Rumors will destroy all of your faith in God, because rumors don't come from God. They are destructive. So let God turn you around if you can't look to your neighbor and your neighbor and your neighbor and your neighbor with love. Of any race, of any creed, of any form, God created all of mankind. He created whoever it is that you can't look at. He sent His Son to die for whoever it is that you can't look at. And if that be the case, I encourage you today, through the Word, go back to Commandment 1. In Him is life. He will give you life. And life has joy and peace and and fulfillment. But we must submit to Commandment 1 before we can even try to do Commandment 2. Love the Lord your God with all that's within you. And Commandment 2, it'll just happen. And you won't even know how. It just did. He's going to have so much love that he'll pour into you that Commandment 2 will happen. He was there from the beginning. He created all of mankind. Don't be a part of the darkness that doesn't even see him when he stands face to face. Let his light fill your life, and glory will come from it. Thank you for staying with me today. I ask once again that you like, share, tell a friend, and keep coming back, and write a comment at the end. It's always an encouraging. God bless you, and we'll see you again soon.